aircraft. In the Battle of Midway, 19 B-17s of the US Army Air Force would operate against the Japanese. To extend their range, they would carry extra fuel tanks and half their normal bomb load. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor had united the American people at a single stroke. Military and civilians alike shared a bitter resolve to see the Japanese totally defeated. Across the country, hundreds of thousands flocked to the recruitment centers. The Japanese blow had been most keenly felt by the men of the United States Navy, and the humiliation had given an extraordinary edge to even the most prosaic of training exercises. Unlike the Japanese, whose trainee naval pilots were an elite, selected at 14 years of age, the Americans recruited from a much wider segment of the population. In the United States, there were far more suitably educated recruits with the right mental and physical qualities for a carrier pilot. On America's entry into the war, the training schools were easily expanded without any appreciable fall-off in quality. After 3 months of elementary flying instruction, the aspiring naval pilot spent another 3 months in basic Navy training. Periods at 2 more flight schools followed, and only the best were then selected for training as carrier pilots. In spite of the excellence of US Navy flight training, American carrier pilots would go into battle with little more than half of the 700 hours flying time acquired by their Japanese counterparts. They had also, as yet, seen little combat. Some had taken part in raids on the Gilbert and Marshall Islands, which had been mounted as much for training and morale as for any strategic reasons. But the actions had been minor and had met little serious opposition. As for flight deck crew, American performance was at least as effective as the Japanese. The men were just as capable of launching a wave of strike aircraft within 5 minutes. Where the Americans did have a real edge on the enemy was in damage control. Damage control parties were highly trained in their duties, and their ability to deal with fire, the greatest threat to any warship, was unsurpassed.